Hello everyone, welcome to the Geopolitics, your one-stop channel for news on international affairs and strategic issues in English. We are focused on UPSC GS Mains Paper 2, Political Science and IR optional, and all of you must have seen the rise of international affairs and strategic issues related questions in UPSC prelims. Apart from UPSC, we are also focused on defense exams, whether it is written examination of NDA, CDS or CAPF or their SSV interviews, group discussions, lecturate. So these videos can be relevant for those aspirants too. For all this, we provide relevant, to the point, knowledgeable, quality content with free PDF and PPT to help you in a quick revision. So please join the Geopolitics YouTube channel and our social media links. With that message, let's start our today's topic. Russia and Ukraine crises are getting worse day by day, and it seems that Ukraine, backed by Nato, and Russia are almost on the brink of war. Will war happen? Why this crisis? What are Russian demands? What Western countries are demanding? Current situation? And what should be a way forward, along with a very important how it will impact India and whose side India will choose. Many other aspects of this very important and interesting topic we will see in this video. But before that, if you haven't subscribed our channel or you are first time viewer, please subscribe our channel, like the video and feel free to comment your experience. These likes, comments and your subscriptions are only motivation we have to bring such quality content for you. So please subscribe and like the video. Alright, hoping that you would have subscribed. Now let's first talk about Ukraine as a country, because it can be asked in our exams and it is also very important to understand this issue. So Ukraine is one of the largest countries in Europe and it is in center of Europe. It borders Russia, Belarus, Moldova, Poland, Slovakia, Hungary and Romania. In the southern parts, it is surrounded by Black Sea and Sea of Azov. The word Ukraine means border. Ukraine is also called as Little Russia and breadbasket of Europe. Earlier, it was part of USSR before 1991. The capital of Ukraine is Kyiv and its population is approximately 44 million or 4 crore 40 lakhs. The currency of Ukraine is hryvnia. So now, after knowing about the Ukraine as a country, let's see what are the origins of the current crisis or current Ukraine-Russia conflict. So if we talk about the origins, then in March and April of 2021, Russia moved about 1 lakh soldiers and military equipments on border with Ukraine. Satellite images showed armors, missiles and heavy weapons on the border. However, the crisis subsumed for few months in June. But again in December 2021, US intelligence revealed that Russia is again deploying troops. This time, Russia want to invade the Ukraine. Russia's arguments is that these are just drills and military exercises for the preparation. But mind you that Russia has already taken military action in 2014, so no one is trusting Russia this time. In last 1 month, the situation has got little bit clearer and it is believed that Russian President Putin wants some concessions from Ukraine and Western countries in return to de-escalate. The crisis has potential to convert the whole conflict into a war. US intelligence reported that Russia can invade Ukraine in January or February. Thus, Ukraine is preparing to protect itself from invasion. So this is whole scenario in which the game of chess is being played between Russia and Western countries with Ukraine as a piece. So now, after understanding this issue, let's see what are its causes. So if we talk about the causes, then no one clearly knows what are the intentions of Russia behind these moves. But scholars have some intelligent guesses, like balance of power in region, Russia and West rivalry, Russia's interest in Black Sea, protests in Ukraine closeness with Europe and United States, and talk of NATO's membership are some of the reasons that may trigger Russia to put such a large amount of troops on borders with Ukraine. Overall, the reason behind Russia-Ukraine current crisis can be understood through 6 reasons. 3 are long-term and 3 are short-term. Let's see each one by one. Long-term reasons include Ukraine is being part of USSR. For Putin, Ukraine and Russia are like one country. So he don't want Ukraine to be go under the influence of Western countries. So culture and history is the first reason behind these moves by Russia. Second reason is 2014 incident. When Russia annexed Crimea in 2014, many bordering states of Ukraine and separatist movements supported Russia that time. Thus, Russia feels confident that it can anytime pressurize Ukraine by military conflicts. And the third reason is NATO's eastward expansion towards Russia. Ukraine has urged North Atlantic Treaty Organization NATO to speed up process for countries' membership in its alliance. Russia never wants this to happen at any cost, as it will cause a United States-led military alliance right at its doorstep. That's why Russia can go any far to protect Ukraine being a NATO member. Now, if we see what are the three short-term reasons, then most Ukrainians and Ukraine government are getting anti-Russia and pro-Westerns. Thus, Ukraine and Western countries are getting closer day by day. Despite many efforts of Putin, the situations are not getting in favor of Russia. Thus, this time he is pressurizing Ukraine by military tactic. The second reason can be Putin believes West is divided and weak after US retreat from Afghanistan and departure of German Chancellor Angela Merkel. So this is right time to promote the interest of Russia and get greater influence in the region. The third and last reason can be huge amassing of troops on the border by both sides. Russia accused Western powers like United States and United Kingdoms that they are supplying arms and weapons to Ukraine, and thus the situation in this conflict is deteriorating day by day. If we talk about some of the other reasons, then balance of power in the region where Russia and Western countries both wants to have greater influence in Ukraine to keep regional balance in their favor. Ukraine is geographically between Europe and Russia, so it is important for both to promote its interests in Ukraine. Here you must also know that Ukraine is geographically between Europe and Russia. So Europe wants Ukraine as a buffer zone while Russia wants Ukraine for furthering its interests. The presence of Black Sea can also be a reason. Russia has interest in Black Sea because it is at crossroads of all the entire region. Black Sea is important for all neighbors and it is also at a transit corridor for goods and energy. That's why Russia wants its control over Black Sea. Now here you should also know about the Minsk agreement between Russia-backed separatists in Ukraine and Ukrainian government. The first Minsk agreement was in 2014 and the second was in 2015 at the capital of Belarus, Minsk city. The Minsk agreement was to end the fighting between both sides. In Minsk II agreement, France, Russia, Ukraine and Germany were present, where 13-point agreement was signed. The other details about Minsk agreements are in following slide. You can pause the video and read the full slide. Now if we see the Western countries' perspective, so they have warned Russia for harsh consequences, sanctions if it invades Ukraine. United States has put 8,500 soldiers on standby. United Kingdom is ready to supply arms. But all the Western countries are not on the same stand. Germany, who has lot of interests in relation with Russia, has said that it would not supply arms to Ukraine, but it believes in talks and diplomacy. Similarly, the response of other EU power, France, is also more inclined towards diplomacy. Thus, the attitude of two power engine countries of European Union, Germany and little bit of France, are different from United States. If we closely watch debate in United States, then we found two views there too. In United States too, hardcore realist wants that Biden should assure Putin that NATO will not furthermore move towards eastwards and United States should focus more on China. While liberal lobby believes that appeasing Russia will backfire and United States should not make any concessions. So in this whole debate, if we see the present scenario, then situation is deteriorating day by day. Russia is exercising and wargaming on the border with Ukraine. United States has started lifting its personnel from cities of Ukraine and it's also started preparing for the conflict. French President Emmanuel Macron and new German Chancellor Olaf Scholz wants to talk with Russia along with Ukraine. Overall, the situation is very fragile and anything can happen. Just a small spark and it can turn into a full-fledged war. Now let's see how India sees it. So in May 2021, India in United Nations Security Council meeting signaled that it will back Russia, as Russia has always backed India in crisis. India in last November voted against a Ukrainian proposal which was targeting Russia. But India wants a political and diplomatic solution to the present crisis. It wants such solution that protects legitimate interests of all countries and ensures peace. Thus, India wants both parties to resolve this issue through dialogue. One important thing that India would never like to see a war between both the parties, because if war happens, then India would be forced to choose a side, considering our history and relationship with Russia, India would choose Russia, and thus again India and Western countries would be in opposite camps, which scenario India would never like to see. The other thing is that after war, Western countries will sanction Russia. Such scenario will push Russia more towards China, which India would never want to see. Thus, India never wants that a war breaks out between Russia and Ukraine. Similarly, India is dealing with United States for CATSA waiver from sanctions on S-400. It would get very tough if Russia involved itself in fighting with Ukraine. So now at last, let's see what can be a way forward. So international cooperation is needed to resolve the issue. Both countries should refrain from escalating the situation. But if we see from both sides, then both have to understand this. Ukraine growing ties with Western countries has angered Russia. Since Ukraine lacks military resources to deter Russia, it always can't look at the Western countries if Russia threatens it. Similarly, if Russia invade Ukraine, it might gain tactical gains, but in return, it will lose Western countries completely. Thereafter, sanctions will also hurt Russian economy. So the better option is to revive the Minsk peace process, and the dialogue is the way forward. With the above conclusion, it's a wrap of this video. Hoping that you would have gained something from this video, I urge you to please subscribe our channel, like the video, and in comment box, please share your experience. I would welcome all type of comment, suggestion, idea, experience in the comment box. So feel free to comment. With this, it's a wrap of this video.
You can get free PDF of this video at our Telegram channel Geopolitics YouTube and our Facebook group Geopolitics YouTube. If you like this video, please consider liking it. Please don't forget to subscribe our channel. We will continue to bring quality content for you. We will meet in our next video. Till then, thank you and have a nice day.